So, I don't normally do a lot of these like goodbye videos unless it's someone very important to my life or celebrity goodbyes. I don't do a lot of them. I've really only done, I think, a maximum of about 4 or 5, and this will be probably number 6. Today we lost Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, we lost the Prince of Darkness, and I am in complete shock. I was literally talking, I was just having a conversation, and my friend Matt posted something on a little chat room, and he said, "Hey, rip to Ozzy Osbourne, he's gone." And I was like, no. It's one of those when you first hear, you're like, bullshit, like straight up bull. You must have misheard something, right? Like this is bullshit. Like this is absolute bullshit. Like no, you're lying. And then you look on the news, and it's true. You're seeing multiple headlines, multiple sources just saying Ozzy's gone. Now, Ozzy Osbourne as a person can be contentious. You know, you have known Ozzy, whether it be from his music, his personality, his family, his show, the Osbournes. That I will say, just for a bit moment of levity, that that Coke twist, that Pepsi twist commercial where he meets the Osmonds. It's so cringeworthy, but it's so delightfully awful, right? Like it's so crazy. And you know, it's one of those you have to like, oh my god, Ozzy's gone. And we always say like, oh, Ozzy has been through a lot. Ozzy Osbourne as a person has been through a lot, his ups and downs, but he always like kept chugging along, and you always knew it was going to happen. You always knew Ozzy was going to pass away. Same with Stan, same with Betty. But you don't think about, you just think it's going to be another year. You'll have another year with them. Like you'll have maybe 1-2 years, and then it finally happens and you don't know what to do with yourself. It's one of those moments, you know. It is very much one of those moments where you are in shock that the day you thought would eventually come, you're here. And you don't know what to do with yourself. You know, I know there's like tons of actors and writers and other things that I, have passed, but Ozzy, you have to understand, Ozzy is if you've never been in the metal scene, Ozzy is the god of it. Like Ozzy Osbourne, along with the rest of Black Sabbath, Geezer, Tony, all of them, they were basically the birthplace of metal. And I'm not trying to undercut the other fathers of metal, like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and all these other bands that just gave us this sound. This gave us a whole genre that was born out of this these heavy tones. Without Sabbath, and I'm not trying not to take away anything from like Priest or Judas Priest or what have you, but you cannot deny that Black Sabbath and Ozzy as an artist was a massive impact on the genre of music. Without Sabbath, I'm telling you this right now, and everyone else will agree, there would be no, Metallica. There would be no fucking Slipknot. There would be no Tool. There would be no Ice Nine Kills. There would be no Asking Alexander. There would be no Sleep Token. There would be no Ghost. There would be none of that. Absolutely, there would be no even the really brutal stuff. If you're really into the heavier stuff, Amon Amarth or Cattle Decapitation or As I Lay Dying or all of these bands. All of them, in one capacity or another, they all owe it to Black Sabbath. They all owe it to Ozzy Osbourne. That's the thing. That is, he is the Prince of Dark. And again, not again, I'm going to talk about this right now. It's almost poetic that, not even, a little over 2 weeks ago, he did his final show. He literally had to be tied, his legs had to be tied to the chair, excuse me, so he would his Parkinson's wouldn't disrupt his singing. And it was a celebration of Ozzy and Black Sabbath as a whole. Everyone was there. You had Tool, you had Metallica, you had super groups with Tom Morello, even Youngblood, who apparently, Youngblood I've heard, but when he did that song Changes, everyone, just a sidebar real quick, because I didn't get to talk about Back to the Beginning as a show. When he did Change, everyone was like, there were starting to be like boos at Youngblood for like when they saw him because he's a pop star. And then he went through, he started singing Changes, and you could hear the crowd go from boo to, oh, he's good! What are we doing here? Like, yeah. And like everyone just immediately changed on it, and apparently Youngblood was tied a lot to Ozzy. Like Ozzy Osbourne said that let me rephrase that, I'm not a fan of Youngblood. I do like some of his songs, but I am nowhere near a fan of him. But Ozzy always talked a lot of praise for Youngblood, especially because he saw a lot of himself in that person. That's what I'm trying to get at. And again, it was so... Now that show, Back to the Beginning, has such a deeper meaning because not even like a month after that, like only a few weeks later, he's gone. That moment, I'm just going to cry every time I look back on that live show of Mama, I'm Coming Home, and the sun going down over the stage. That moment is gonna be it was already a tearjerker to begin with, of watching him sing Mama, I'm Coming Home and doing his best to keep his voice together. And, it didn't matter if Ozzy sounded bad or not. It doesn't matter. It was Ozzy's last show, and it definitively was his last show. So to have him sing that moment, and the sun going down behind the stage and everyone just in tears, that's a new context. Because it was his last show. It wasn't like, Ozzy will be back in 3 years. Like, I remember even jokes about that. Like, oh yeah, it's going to be like Kiss. And Ozzy had said, like, there are farewell tours, but then he's like, I want to go back. This is the definitive last show. And I know no one really thought that. No one, not even like the stagehands or shows, no one thought this was going to be like, oh yeah, we're saying it's Ozzy's last show, but who knows, maybe he'll change his mind and we'll see Ozzy up there at 80 years old with Zach. I'm sure there was thoughts of that, but now it's Back to the Beginning is definitively his last thing. And it's heartwarming because, there's that moment where he's just alone at the end of the set, and Geezer, Tony, all of them, they left the stage. And for those who don't know, they didn't just leave him up there. They went and got him a cake. The live stream missed that part. But no, they came back with a cake for him to enjoy, like a retirement cake. But it was a moment where he got to like sit and enjoy the fans. And I honest to God hope, or should I say honest to Satan hope, that that moment stuck with Ozzy at the end. Like in those final weeks of Ozzy's life, I hope that image of him looking out to the crowd, them cheering him, sitting on this throne, and looking out to the world he made. He helped create. He made this world. He made this community. And I hope that was a scene, not just that scene, but all the times he got to, play with, whether it be himself or Black Sabbath or Zach or all of those, and moments of his family, we all talk about like how funny the Osbournes was in that time frame. Yes, I am going to date myself for a moment. There is that moment where Ozzy, there's a lot of like drama in the family, and Ozzy just looks awful all the time. But, we do know that like his relationship got better with his kids. Like it got mildly better as he got older. He was happy. Every interview you hear him talking about his grandchildren. He had learned how to drive. And now he's gone. I'm actually getting emotional here. I'm sorry. So, dude made a whole genre. Whether you like him or hate him, he made music. He made a whole genre. He helped make a whole genre. And the dude basically, you cannot deny whether it was him peeing on the Alamo, biting off the heads of bats, fucking um, doing all the crazy shit he was on drugs. And that's a feat in of itself. He did that much drugs and lived to 76. Dude. Jesus. I'm surprised. Like, you should be shocked he's alive that long. And I'm sure, like, there are stories of Ozzy, from bands and friends and family that is going to be told. And, I didn't get to talk about Lemmy Kilmister's death or, Prince or what have you. Because I didn't know if I had a lot to say about those. As much as I love Motorhead and Prince, I didn't know if I had a lot to say there. But when this happened, I was like, I have to talk about this. Like, it's something that it needs to be shared because Ozzy had a historical impact on music. Yeah, I don't think I've talked about another singer. Like, the last time I talked about a singer, and their passing was Ronnie James Dio. So yeah, so now I yeah. So all I can really say is, good night, Dark Prince. There's a throne waiting for you. I don't know where it is in the afterlife. I don't know where you're going. But I'm sure there is a throne for the Dark Prince wherever he may go. Also, don't be a dick and say like he's going to, he's going to burn in hell or something. If anything, he's going to be rocking. Lucifer's going to be like, oh, finally you're here, man. Oh, we got fucking, how many people have been wanting to see you. Oh man, I've been wanting you down here for years, but the big man wouldn't let me. Anyway, let's go. But don't be a dick. If you didn't like his music, don't be a fucking asshole. All right. Yeah. So, all I can say now is thank you, Ozzy, for the music, for the inspiration of other bands, for being the Prince of Darkness. So, yeah. All right. But yeah, good night, Dark Prince. Sweet dreams.